Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Power Talks. My name is Griffin Lickfelt, the host of the Citizen Developer Channel and Power Talks podcast. And today I'm joined by a special guest, and I'll call you industry expert, even though he's drinking out of a blender here this morning. Sean Astrakhan. Sean, thank you for being here. I have I had questions prepped for this chat like I do for all of them, and we get on here and you go, hey, we're going to scratch that. I'm going to interview you. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So welcome to the show, everybody. Sean Astrakhan, returning guest. Dude, what do you got?
Griffin, you're mid-20s. What's it like to be this young in the industry? I'm primarily interested in what's it like to be working with a lot of people who are much older than you.
And just so everybody knows, I had zero time to prep for these questions. So these are straight off the brain. So I think, one, it's a really cool time to be, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily new. I have, 3.5 years of experience. So I'm not necessarily like super, there's a lot to learn, but definitely I'm young. And something that is really cool is I was able to I feel like build a lot of the foundation around ALM, Power Apps, Power Automate, and all of those things before all of this like agent Copilot stuff got thrown into the mix. So it is cool to, like, there is a lot of hype right now around low code and agents and Copilot. So it is cool to be what it feels like starting my career, I guess, in a time where it feels like there's so much to look forward to. So that is pretty cool. More to your question though about like being younger, I guess, compared to a lot of the people I work with, it's twofold. Like, I think it is really cool because I like to think and really value having a growth mindset, and so it is cool to be able to work closely with people that have 10 or even 20 more years of experience than me, and being able to learn from them. I do think as well, like being younger, you can kind of become the scapegoat for like making jokes and poking fun at yourself or whatever as well, because I don't necessarily think it is a bad thing. Like if you know what you're doing, people will take you seriously. But also if you're, 15 years younger than the person on the client that you're talking to, like they naturally might take you less serious than if, you were their age or something older. And I don't think that's malicious, like I don't think they think I'm ignorant or anything like that, but you generally can, like play around with that, I guess, a little bit more being younger.
If we could expand on that in terms of scapegoat, have you
Yeah.
felt uncomfortable at work with a coworker or a client due to your age? Have you been like insulted in any way?
I wouldn't say I've ever felt that way. And I'm sure there are people out there that have, and that is sad. I do feel like I don't want to, want to make sure I'm politically correct throughout this conversation. I don't want
Can't
to
you
get
just
myself
edit this?
don't want to get myself in trouble. I could, but I probably won't because I like to keep
Okay.
them natural and human and not super, whatever. I do feel like I have hit a certain point, and again, I don't think that people were being malicious, but when it comes to like career advancements or we'll say a promotion, I did feel like that there were people that weren't supportive of me getting a promotion because they still saw me as the 22-year-old when I started, Um, and it was kind of like, oh, well, he needs more experience sort of thing. But it was like, I've got 4,000 hours of build project experience. I can't become a senior, I have the PL600 certification. I have learned this stuff. I've proven this stuff. I've worked well with clients. Like, I have that experience. Other people that had this experience got that promotion at that time. So I have, and again, I don't think anybody was being malicious in that. And like, no, don't, like being ageist or whatever the term would be against me. But I do just think that sometimes you can bump into that unconscious bias a little bit, where it's like, he's 10 years younger than me. How is he a senior consultant or an architect or whatever that may be, So.
I want to take that so much further, but I'm trying to be respect because you're being
No,
so
you can
diplomatic and politically
take it,
correct.
you can take it further. I mean,
Does
it's
that
yeah. Go ahead.
is it jealousy? You think? What do you have any thoughts on where that comes from?
Um, Jealousy. That's a good point. Let me keep my my professional what's it called marketing trained, media
Yep.
trained face on. Um, I don't know. I think that like I definitely try really hard to do my best, and I'm in a situation where I don't have kids, I don't have all these extra responsibilities, and so I am able to spend a little bit more of that time hustling a little bit, where somebody else might have to, you know, take care of their house or take care of their kids and do that and run them to baseball practice or whatever. And I something that I am very thankful for is I am in a season of life where it's kind of just me and my wife, and it's a sweet time as well, and where I can really just kind of focus on hustling, putting my best foot forward, building my personal brand. In doing that, um, I don't think it's jealousy. I think it's more so of just like something I've always said that I loved about this industry is it felt like if you wanted to hustle, if you wanted to go and get it, if you wanted to bill a lot of hours and get a big bonus, like you had the ability to do that. It wasn't like, hey, punch the clock for the next 10 years and then you can get a promotion. And like it felt very much like in my control to like go and hustle and get it. And so that's something that I've always appreciated. And maybe I was trying to speed run it too fast. Like maybe I was being unrealistic because you can't microwave it either, you know? Um, so I don't know, probably some combination of that. I don't want to say it was jealousy or anything like that.
I read an awesome piece of advice that said when you're being interviewed, answer the questions you wish you were asked, not that you were asked. And I thought you knocked that out of the park. So this next one is moving away from just pigeonholing you as like just youth. Is if you could make $500,000 a year guaranteed, it's going into your
Okay.
bank. What are you doing with your time? Are you still doing this?
If money didn't exist, yeah.
No, it
I
exists.
say
It's
this.
500,000.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not million.
I know what you mean. I know what
500,000.
you. I would say if I was in that situation where I didn't have to hustle, which I side note, I also enjoy the hustle. It's fun, I've always enjoyed that. But I do say if I had more time on my hands or wasn't hustling, I would probably spend some of my time being like a part-time high school football coach and just like because I grew up playing football. I love playing football. I was a D lineman, so I don't know if anybody in the UK is listening and is like, what are you possibly talking about? The person that would throw the ball, the quarterback, my job was to tackle them before they threw it. And so I would probably just be a high school coach and teach kids how to rush the passer well and be a mentor, because I think about like I don't know, we're talking about, and I mean, it's no secret either. You're definitely hustling too, and you put in a lot of time into your personal brand and all sorts of different things. Like, I didn't just like wake up or was born, with certain skills or certain mindsets. Like, I had people that, instilled that in me, whether it was my parents or coaches or teachers or mentors or friends or whatnot. Like, I had people when I was growing up teach me principles around hard work, around responsibility, around accountability, around a growth mindset, around all these things. And I feel like that high school age is a really sweet time that to be able to like, you know, if I had a guaranteed income of 500 or 500,000 a year, like you're saying, like it would be really cool to be able to go be that for somebody else. And ultimately, it's kind of some of the reason why I create on with the podcast and with the tutorials, content, and different things to try to, you know, that's really the mission behind the Power Talks podcast is like, how do we show people how they can grow, how they can be better, how they can make more money, how they can get the job that they want, how they can go from whatever job they have to working as a consultant, fully remote, or whatever it is that they want. And so, I don't know, long-winded answer to your question, but something like that.
That's beautiful. I Football is so important to you, and you play that in college.
Yeah.
It's super aggressive. It's like
Yeah.
you got to take people down. It taps into like your our primal desires. It's why people like jujitsu. It's so like testosterone driven. Do you feel like you have that outlet today?
Hmm. So I definitely, my wife will be the first one to tell you I don't go to the gym as much as I probably should, or as much as her. You know, she's way better than me. But I definitely still love health and fitness and working out and lifting weights. So I guess I would say that is probably my outlet from like a physical stance. Um,
Do you miss it? Do you like do you have that need anymore to, not saying like tackle a person, but to be in
yeah,
this like the the
yeah,
top
yeah,
level of competition and of like
yeah,
pushing yourself physically and like the adrenaline of it?
yeah, yeah. And also, okay, context to what you're saying, like the top of whatever. So, for anybody who doesn't know, probably like a 0.5% of all high school football players play Division I college football, and there's definitely better school. I played at the University of North Dakota, so for anybody who really likes college football, it's Division I FCS. So there's definitely better football out there too, but it was pretty competitive football. Like it really was. Not to take anything away from it. And so it was pretty competitive, pretty intense. I tell people all the time, like, I like to be coachable. I like feedback. And like, sometimes, you know how people can be like afraid to like maybe give you something that might hurt your feelings or whatever. I'm like, there's nothing you can ever say that would be more offensive than like my college coaches. Like, there's nothing you could possibly say that would, I mean, if you did, you'd be let go because HR would be on you. So like, it's all good. It's like, it's all good. So,
So you're completely open to any feedback on anything.
generally, yes. I mean, as long as you're being respectful, for sure. Um, do I miss it? That was your first question. I would say so. This was I graduated in the spring of 2022. So it's been almost 4 years since I guess my last college game because we played in the fall, whatever. Um, and I would say that it really for the first like the last 3 years I watched like very little football on
Yeah.
TV. Like I just like loved the sport. But I don't know, I was just kind of like footballed out. This last season has been a lot of fun,
Mm,
like getting back into watching it, and you know the game behind the game a little bit,
mm.
um and whatnot. So that has been fun. I do miss the sport. I've always been a competitive person, even into family board games or something, card games or whatever. Like, and my wife was played softball in college as well, so we're both that way. And so it makes us a good pair, I guess. But yeah, I miss the sport. I miss the competition. My position is very like a lot of times you can be going, it's me and then one guy on the other team all game, one on one. I mean, there's obviously other situations in play. So it is very like, it is me versus you for the next 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, and that is a cool aspect of it, like that competitiveness, and just like competing against other really good players and trying to be the best you can. And so I do miss that. Definitely miss like, it's definitely true when they say like when you think back like the best memories you have are just with the guys, because like when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, like a lot of us are going to school away from home. I grew up in Indiana, went to college in North Dakota. It's 14 hours away. So 18-year-old kid moving across the country, and so all your friends are in the same boat. Everyone kind of moved there for to play sports and go to school, and like you definitely have really great friends because I mean you're not just like practice with these guys, you
Yeah.
live with them, you travel with them, you eat with them, are in meetings with them, you go to class with them. Like they definitely become your really good friends. So I miss that too. There is I guess if any other college football gurus out there who love college football, like there's definitely, and I couldn't even imagine at the next level. There's definitely like it is a business at the same time too, especially from like a coaching staff perspective, right? Like these coaches need to win games, and if they don't, they lose their job, and that's how they provide for their family. So there's definitely a business behind it too. It's not the same as like high school football where these guys are just teachers and they live in this town and they're your coach because they love football and want to mentor you. It's like, hey, I'm your coach because this is my job,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that transfers also to the business world where you have these great relationships at the company, but, well, if you're not performing, or it could have nothing to do with your performance, you're gone. So it's almost like there is and isn't love.
If you are liking the conversation, be sure to let me know by liking the video and commenting down below what it is specifically you are getting out of it. And if you are interested in learning more about the Microsoft Power Platform, you're going to want to click on the first link down in the description down below to get access to a beginner's Power Platform guide led by me. This is a completely free, self-paced course that has hand-picked knowledge, everything that you need to know to be able to go and get your first Microsoft certification as soon as possible. The reality is not a lot of people can say they love what they do, and I feel very blessed to be able to say that I enjoy what I do for work as a Microsoft consultant. And if you want to start that journey alongside me today, be sure to follow and click on the first link down in the description down below. Now let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah. That is definitely something that I have, and even in having these conversations, this is like episode 80 something now, that has helped me realize a little bit, because when I graduated, I was previously at Hitachi Solutions. They were the first like grown up job I had, right? Like before that, it was part-time jobs when you're a high school or college kid and whatever. And so, I think it was a great place to work. Loved it. Loved everything about it. But like, it took me a while to kind of recognize, like, wait, this is the real world. Like they're paying us real money for real jobs. Like we need to be real about what we do. And I don't know, I have been the type of person where I like having that control. And like, if say I failed in that aspect, I would like knowing I failed is because I didn't do this, or I didn't do this well enough, or I didn't prioritize learning this thing, as opposed to just like, sorry, we rolled the dice, it was you. Some people are really like hate that idea, like them having all of that control and the ability to do it. But like I said earlier, like something I love about what we do is it does feel like, you have the ball in your hands, and that like, if you want to hustle, you can go get it. If you want to just be good at your job and maintain your career and work at some place for however long and hit a little bonus every month or whatever, like, you have the ability to do that too. So, I don't know if that really answered your question, but
It did. It's almost like you're saying, if I'm understanding you, it's nothing personal. It's just you go there, you have the ball, you decide what happens. Some things might be out of your control, but it's like you're pretty much in charge of your own destiny.
Yeah, and I generally have like thick skin, and I don't get too offended if somebody was like, "Hey, this PowerPoint slide is hideous." Like, who did this? I'm like, that was me. Whatever. No, I'm just kidding. That hasn't
right, because you're open to feedback.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I enjoy having that. Yeah, that like internal, what is it? Internal locus of control or whatever they call it, right? Like,
nice.
Where it feels like the ball's in my hands. Yeah.
You mentioned you're married. You mentioned a wife. It is atypical of your generation, actually my generation, to be married by the time you're 25. Why did you do that?
So I was proudly married when I was 23. Got married when I was 23. Why did I do that? I think, dang, we're talking about marriage on the podcast. Let's go.
I don't know what you expected me when I was the host.
Let's go. This is sick. Okay, this is sick. Okay. So I think, hot take, I think marriage is more about yourself than finding this perfect soulmate partner. I think my wife is the perfect soulmate partner, but if you understand what I'm saying. I think that it's more about yourself, and I'll use myself example as a man, as a husband. Like, I needed to really make sure that I was prepared to be a husband, and in the same time that my wife was really prepared to be a wife and everything that that means. And it wasn't just like, oh, conversation was just so easy, and so we just got married. It was not like that at all. I mean, we love talking to each other. We could talk to each other forever. We're definitely, have a lot in common and love spending time together. But my hot take would be it was more about myself being prepared to be a husband, if that makes sense.
What does it mean to be a husband?
So
we're at the
there's
20-minute mark. If anyone's listening now, they
No.
can't. Like,
Yeah, right. No, I think that. Let me take 10 seconds to think about my answer. I think that it has to do with, like, it is no secret that marriage is a sacrifice in the same way that, like, being on the football team, I would have to sacrifice my weekends to travel to go play football, right? Like, or my mornings to go practice, or my afternoons to go lift. Like, and not that I don't like making that sacrifice, but it is just simply like I don't play many video games anymore, right? Because I sacrifice that time so that I can hang out and spend time with my wife, or I can sacrifice my wife has been going to grad school. She wraps up here in the spring. So, like, we have to sacrifice a lot to get her through school and, her start her career and what she wants to do. And so, like, there definitely is a lot of sacrifice. I think being a husband means, like, joyfully and lovingly doing that. As well as I think as the husband, you're called to responsibility of leadership, and not even so much of I think sometimes it can come across in some toxic masculinity of, like, being the provider and, like, whatever. But I do think that there are some, like, characteristic traits. I'm not saying you have to make more than your wife, but, like, some characteristic traits of, like, I'm going to go and hustle, so then that way you don't have to, say, like, stress or do these things, like leading in that way. And so I think it was more so of, like, me and my heart being prepared, like, okay, I am signing up for the rest of my life to now sacrifice the things I want for the things my wife or my family wants and needs first, right? And not saying that I can't ever have anything that I want ever again, but, like, you are kind of preparing, like, okay, I am going to, lay my desires down for the desires of, what's best maybe for my wife. Like, maybe I really want to be lazy and play video games, but my wife needs us to spend time together because we haven't hung out in a couple nights, and she wants to hang out and spend quality time together. Like, okay, I need to sacrifice that selfish time of playing video games, as an example. And not that I don't love doing that, but does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, I think it's more so about that, like, understanding the responsibilities that you have of, maybe sacrificing the things that you would want. And when you have kids, that makes it the whole nother level, right? Like, you have to now sacrifice even more things. And that's, I guess, why, I have enjoyed this season of life. It's really easy to sacrifice what I want for what my wife wants, but it's also nice having not a ton of responsibilities either, and being able to do stuff like this. So
that's a beautiful answer. You're it's a very traditional answer in a lot of ways.
Sure.
I mean, you put your unique spin on it, but I don't. Do you have a lot in common with people your age? Are they also getting married at this age? Are they also hustling like you are? Are they also?
Sure.
And I'm most interested in this question. So if you could throw this in there.
Yeah.
You're so sporty. And a lot of people in tech come from more video gamey type backgrounds.
Yeah.
So there's two questions here. There is, what's it like having a more traditional gender rolled approach to marriage compared to what I've read of your generation? And then the second question is, what's it like having such a sports background in an environment where that is less common.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact,
Okay.
rare. Most people come from nerdy video game backgrounds, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to diplomatically.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
feel that. I recognize that. Okay, to your first question, kind of like you said, if somebody's still listening this far into the conversation, that's great. Love that you're here and that you're listening to me talk. I tried to not make the show about this or whatever, but like personally, I don't mind sharing this as well. Like I am a Christian, so there are a lot of religious reasons behind what I believe. And I think that I believe in the concept that there can be kind of eternal truths, I guess, right? That things can be true forever. And certain facts or whatever. And I think that I think that there can be a lot of truths, whether you're religious or not, that can be taken from, fundamental principles as far as what, marriage has looked like for thousands of years. And I think that there are a lot of people in times where this was done poorly, right? And maybe in a toxic way. I'm not necessarily saying, like, it's kind of like the joke, I guess, where it's like, at least in my generation, the joke is like, men in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, did not treat their wives very well, right? But it was that idea of like gender roles or whatever. I'm not saying that that is a healthy thing. But I also think that, so people have definitely done it wrong. But I also think that there can be a lot of wisdom taken from something that was designed this way. And I not to offend anybody, but I think that men and women are designed differently. And so that, not just biologically. And so that with that comes different, but completely equal responsibilities. So I guess that would be my answer to that and why I believe that. I do think that can be a hot take in this generation, especially among my peers. Like one thing in particular, I will not judge or look down on anybody that maybe their relationship or their life looks different than mine. But like one thing in particular that jumps out to me is like the concept of living together before you're married. My wife and I deliberately chose not to do that. I think that when it comes from, but in my generation, that is like more common than people who don't live together, is living together while you're dating. And me and my wife chose not to do that so deliberately. We actually did a year of long distance in our engagement because it was cheaper for us to live with our parents and save for the wedding, and as opposed to live together. And that was really hard. I don't necessarily recommend long distance while you're trying to plan a wedding for anybody. But I think that if you I've actually heard statistics, I can't necessarily back it up, so, whatever. But like that living together before you're married actually increases your divorce rate after you're married, because it's almost like it takes away the specialness of living together, of being married, of truly doing all of life together, and brings that outside of the context of marriage, which I think can ultimately be harmful. So that is, I guess, would be my answer to your first question. Definitely is a hot take. I have plenty of great friends that live with their spouses and they're dating. Like I said, I'm not necessarily gonna say don't do it, I don't like you anymore. But that's just what me and my wife chose to do, and we are believers in that. Okay, to your other question. I don't entirely exactly remember what it was.
Sports in an environment.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I definitely grew up playing sports. I played baseball growing up. I played football growing up. I played lacrosse growing up. And so I definitely have always loved sports. I definitely have always enjoyed like first-person shooter video games and everything as well. So I definitely, had the Xbox back in the day and was grinding and getting all the camos and Call of Duty and whatnot. Like, was definitely there. But I don't know. It is funny. I guess the difference. I don't necessarily know if I have any real thoughts on it, but I also think it kind of just leaves a space for, like, as I'm creating my personal brand and creating, like, to be a little bit different than a lot of the people, I guess. I guess I haven't really put any real thoughts to that concept before, but I think sports teaches you so much, about leadership, teamwork, growth mindsets, accountability, responsibility, feedback, being coachable, all of those things. And I think that those are highly transferable skills into being a valuable employee, and whatever that may be. And so, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. There are a lot of people in this industry who are very different than me in a lot of ways, but I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Right? So.
That's beautiful. Griffin, thank you for letting me throw away your entire script and get to know you. And most importantly, let other people get to know you, because you've been bringing us so much benefit through Citizen Dev and all your community work. And now we have an idea of who you actually are and what matters to you.
Dude, this was super fun. I was telling you before we recorded, like, the first conversation we had, which was probably like, I don't know, between episode 10 to 20. So this was a while ago. And I still tell you, you asked me more questions in that episode than any other guest has ever asked me. And you're like, all right, well, we're going to do a full interview today. So I love it. This has been super good. Dude, I thank you for being here. I will just say to anybody still listening, Sean, dude, you're a great guy, bro. You're crushing it. The Architect Accelerator, I know, brings so much value to people in the industry. And so and I'm sure you could do a whole 30-second spiel or a 3-minute spiel on everything. But if you are wanting to level up your architect skills and really understand everything, like, I can definitely say that would be worth your while. So thanks for the time, bro. I really appreciate it. What are your thoughts, I guess, on our conversation and everything before we wrap up?
Oh, we're still recording. It was a lot of fun to do. It was cool to talk to you. I like being in control, so that helps. Locus of control. And I was very curious, legitimately, what it's like to be your age at this time in tech and in life.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, sweet man, thank you for being here, Sean, and thank you to you for sticking to end the video. My name is Griffin Lickfelt, the host of the Citizen Developer channel and Power Talks podcast, and I'm excited to connect with you in the next one.